right, let's get started. Gateway?
Hello. During last week, we've added more resources to our consensus layer since Gnosis started migration to our consensus clients. So that's what's done. Well, basically that's it.
Okay, thank you. Shutter?
On Shutter, we're still working on the lib P2P updates, and we're also following up on a validator registration issue in Shadow. And I think that's it.
You? Hive?
I was working on EAST integration for Hive. During last week, we have some progress with work. Also, we had a meeting with Ethereum testing team and created actually next plan how to proceed with EAST and Gnosis. Yeah, this is on the side.
Nice. Ethereum/tests?
These are the updates also for Ethereum tests.
Right. So yeah, Ethereum/tests is going to be replaced by ESTs. And so we'll have only one thing, right? Or are we still keeping Hive in the long term?
So Hive is like test runner, and EAST is implementation of the test. So it's separate things, but in current context, so we will use Hive to run EAST.
Okay, makes sense. Thank you. Nethermind?
Hi, so we are still monitoring some small issues for Pectra and adjusting ourselves to it. We'll release one version today, mostly for Hoodie support and waiting for Pectra, which will happen in like 7 or 8 days from now on it to see if it will be working very well.
Yeah, what are the issues with Spectra you mentioned?
There are some small minor things which we found in BLS last time on old CPUs, which is right now confirmed working. And we released the version 131.5 with it. And right now 131.6 is mostly around Hoodie. And some small issues in memory leaks in trace transactions.
Yeah, but this one is not related to Pectra.
Yeah. This one is for Hoodie, which will fork to Pectra in next week. So more like preparation for it.
Got it. So nothing major regarding the hard fork and everything. So no blockers on that side, I would say.
In the one which we are releasing now.
And generally, it is not strictly required, but I think it would be great if shadow validators will upgrade to the latest version so that we will test on the version that will go to Gnosis mainnet. Of course, we are still testing, reviewing things, but yeah, I think it would be good if shadow validators would upgrade.
Yes.
Makes sense. Okay, so we'll push outcomes for this maybe today or tomorrow. I'll see with Arman. Erigon?
So our release for Hoodie will happen most likely on Monday. Don't have an interim release yet, but the config has been merged. We're looking into some additional tests, especially with Hive and RPC tests. That's all from my side. If Milan is on the call, he can update about Shutter.
Yeah, so about Shutter, I'm currently testing the integration on Shadow, and yeah, it seems like there's some issue with registering my validators to be Shutter ones, and I think the Shutter team are looking into that. For some reason, we don't seem to be getting decryption keys for our validators, which sort of highlights there's like some issue with the validator registration script and the keepers. Seems like there's some version mismatch of the registration messages, but I think someone from the Shutter team is looking into it, so I'm working with them on that. But that's all.
All right. I guess Guillaume is not here, so let's move on to Ref. Wait, I think Deb also isn't here. Okay. Well, let's talk about Spectra then. I wasn't here last week, so I'm not exactly sure what happened. But yeah, so there's Hoodie. We don't really want to announce a date before mainnet, so I guess April 1st is not going to happen. Yeah. So is there anything else to discuss? Like, what would the risks? I mean, are there realistically risks if we decided to still go with April 1st? Or yeah, I mean, how dangerous would it be in your opinion?
If we go to mainnet?
Yeah.
No? To be honest.
To Gnosis mainnet, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't see much risks right now, but I might be. I don't know. Others might disagree.
The
Anyone
shift
else
in
want
plan
to
is
comment?
mostly because of some other bigger operators that didn't execute all of the tests on Cholesky, like Lido, for example. They wanted to test all the end-to-end scenarios, and this is the only concern which was raised there. That's why we have Hoodie, and for Hoodie they need to have all of that setup made from scratch as they had on Cholesky, and it will take them quite a lot of time, as they were explaining on Last All Core Devs.
Is there a chance that, for example, Hoodie messes up in some way or doesn't work as expected, and that we end up with a different fork than Ethereum mainnet?
Hopefully not. But Hoodie with its setup is almost a mirror of what mainnet is having. As DevOps from EF were trying to accomplish is that it will only differ with Chain ID. Even they try to reproduce exact contract addresses for deposits, etc. So trying to imitate it one-to-one with mainnet. So if big issue will happen on Hoodie, it's most likely it will happen also on mainnet. So that's the only thing which they want to check right now.
Just for the context, do you consider still going with 1st April?
I mean, I don't know if the risks are basically null, then I think it would still be good. Yes.
I think the one risk that I see for going with 1st April specifically is that we need to decide now, or I think now, or I don't know, go a little bit later than 1st April.
Yeah, even now that's 11 days. It's not a lot of time. That's true.
Yeah.
Like, who here is against setting a date right now? From that.
So I don't want to set date before Hoodie happens without any glitch, and I'm still hopeful that it's gonna go scratch free. But you also have to see the fact that while I was working on it, it felt like we are rushing into making the releases for Hoodie. and there is like it's not one-to-one with mainnet exactly, but it's like as close to it. Sorry, mainnet Ethereum, that is, as close to it as possible. And if it goes well for a week, I think we can then decide the date. From what I can foresee, it should be around 10th of April.
Okay. Luke,
Yeah, I kind of also agree. I would wait for Hoodie to fork and the consolidations to happen there before like deciding on the final date. Or
yes.
we can decide a date after we expect that to happen and adjust if anything goes wrong on Hoodie. But
Yeah, I mean, definitely makes sense. So, I think Camille or Samnat, you said something about the 10th of April. What was that?
Yeah, 10th of April is like my tentative date projection. So I think Hoodie will fork next week, Tuesday or Wednesday sometimes. So with all the deposits consolidation and like other people waking up to the news and trying to use the network, I would say let it be another week, which brings you to the end of the month. And I mean, like in a couple of days from then, we can decide. So maybe 10th of April, but I wouldn't announce it right now.
Right, no, definitely.
Just to avoid the potential of people upgrading and then like the network with 2 different dates.
Okay,
Just
makes
that
sense.
from me, 10th of April is 2 weeks, exactly 2 weeks after Hoodie will fork, because as far as I recall, it's 10 days from the Genesis, so it's 27th, but I'm not super sure about that. So it will be like 2 weeks, the 10th of April, and we need to have also a call to make sure that this is a date and make some announcements for Gnosis, right? And it is Thursday, so just day after our Gnosis Cortex call. So would be maybe a little bit. Either we will decide on that offline, or we should stick to this date like right now, but communicate it like 2 days after Cody or something. But it will be less than 2 weeks then for upgrades.
I think, I mean, as soon as the ICD happens where mainnet dates are announced, we should probably just have a call that is not the scheduled one on Wednesday, with at least like the decision makers at Gnosis, Nethermind and Erigon to set a date. I think that would be good. So you can move fast without having to wait, 6 more days. But we'll get to that when the time comes, I guess, that we can talk about offline. Or async.
Not sure when mainnet will be scheduled, but I guess if fork is next week Thursday, it will be scheduled at 3rd of April, probably.
Yeah, right. So probably we should have a call on the 3rd or the 4th of April to discuss this for Gnosis specifically.
Yeah, but that's why 10th doesn't sound like something realistic if we want to wait for Hoodie.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. But that's fine. I mean, Ethereum is going to be at end of April at the earliest, right? Probably even in May at this point. So if we do mid or like the 2nd, 3rd of April, that's fine too.
Okay.
I think 10th of April can be mid if we agree on client releases, let's say 1st of April. Around 1st of April, then people will have around 10 days. Is it enough to update Gnosis Chain validators, or it's too short time?
I'd rather have a bit more time than 10 days. If people are on holiday or whatever, I still think, I mean, for me, 2 weeks would be the minimum, but even 3 would be nice, I would say. But
so does it mean that we will aim for like not 10th of April, not this week, but week after that, more or less. So 14 to 18 April.
Yeah. So, well, actually, so yeah, Hoodie is going to hard fork on the 27th. The 10th is exactly 2 weeks after. Maybe early the week afterwards, so on the 14th or 15th or something like that. I think it would be just mid-April. I think is okay.
Just
Sorry,
to
who
think,
is going to talk on 26th actually?
Oh yeah, sorry. The hard fork is on 26th, but the ACD call afterwards is the 27th. That it's going to talk about probably. I mean, maybe if it went well and stuff like that. Who do you think they will set the date on the 27th? That sounds a bit early, right?
It's very early. If I was asked, I'll say no. It's within 24 hours. I cannot tell you if you should fork.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Okay. Yeah, so they will. I mean, the ICD will most likely set the date at the earliest on April 3, then, which is something we kind of wanted to wait for, right? To be perfectly sure that we are going to run the exact same version as Ethereum mainnet. Camille?
Just last thing, just to bear in mind is the holiday season, right? So 18th, it starts Easter. So better would be to be a few days before, right? Because right before Easter, somebody will start picking the 3 days, some early holiday, right?
Yeah, makes sense.
So you're saying April 18th onwards is not good. Looking at the calendar, it seems like 3rd of April and 10th of April are good decision points for Ethereum. If the decision does not go through on 3rd, it will go through on 10th. And looking at that date, if you want to also avoid Easter, then most likely you're looking at 1st of May or something like that for this.
Do you think that it will be postponed that far, that we'll have a decision on 10th, assuming that this is Hoodie, which will be probably 60-70% still owned by EF DevOps team? So maybe they will be able to execute all of the interesting testing scenarios and just waiting for Lido to give some green light. And they are in the middle of preparations as far as I know.
Realistically, even if you wait for 2 days after CodeF's call on 3rd of April, then you take a decision and say 4th or the next Monday, that is 7th, and you give 3 weeks, so it's going to be end of April.
The thing is, if we don't wait for the ACD that actually sets the date for Ethereum mainnet, then we might as well also just set it right now, right? Because we don't gain anything from Hoodie going through correctly or whatever.
We gain confidence.
Sure, but I mean, we already did our testnet, it works. Sepolia at this point is okay, Horeski fixed too. We gained some confidence, but it's not that much of a change, right? I mean, maybe it is, but I don't see much value in waiting for Hoodie. If we don't also wait for Ethereum or DF to actually announce the mainnet date. If we don't wait for that, then for me, we might as well just announce them now for Gnosis Chain.
In my opinion, what Marek suggested, so 15-16 is pretty realistic and safe.
Yeah, but when do we decide on whether we go with those dates or not?
So if we want 2 weeks after client releases, we can decide just after the Hoodie, I don't know, 28th, I think, and expect client releases. Sorry, I was. Yeah, Hoodie is 28, Camille?
26.
26.
26. So we can decide end of this week, so Friday 28, right? On that we want to go, and then have client releases 1st April, around 1st April, and it will give 2.5 weeks for node operators to upgrade. Sounds reasonable. And in any case, if we notice something on Hoodie before client releases, something suspicious, then we can re-evaluate this decision, right?
Yeah. Okay, so we'll wait for Hoodie basically to go through, but not wait for the EF to announce the Ethereum mainnet date then.
Yeah, I think EF, if the Hoodie will be successful, then EF will announce the date, and even maybe after on this Allcore, that's just after Hoodie, there will be dates, tentative dates of mainnet. So that's my expectation. With the same phrasing that if we do not have any issues, this is our goal.
Okay, sounds good. Let's agree then on a date. I'll send an invite for Friday the 28th. We'll talk about this on the Telegram chat, so we can decide on what time works best for everyone. But yeah, let's do that async. Okay, is there anything else then for Pectra, for the release, or anything else? Okay, then I'll just quickly take the. Oh, go ahead.
Yes, I could just join. I had a Wi-Fi issue. So just to give an update on Reth, I'm currently upgrading the upstream dependency. It's a huge diff actually, so it might take me some time.
Sorry, I didn't catch the second part.
Yeah. Pardon? Oh yeah, I was saying that the diff is huge, so it might take me a while.
Okay, yeah, I was actually going to let you do the update right now, but okay, all good. So yeah, I'll contact you now on Telegram. Sorry to set the date for Friday. And I guess there's something else then. All right, then thanks for joining, and see you next week.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Oh.